Imagine you're driving a Jeep down the road. Suddenly, crash! Another car turns in front of you. Your car flips once, twice, 3 times. The roof rips off, and now you're flying through the air. And just when it seems like you're about to fall to the ground, you grab onto a wire. The problem is, that wire, it's 25 feet in the air. And now, you're hanging on for dear life. Believe it or not, that really happened. Welcome to Believe It or Not, the show where weird is real and the truth is stranger than fiction. I'm your host, Bryan, and today's story is a high-flying adventure you won't believe. Are you ready? Then let's go. Joe Thompson was 18 years old, living in Blue Springs, Missouri. One January evening in 2003, he was driving his Jeep down the street like any normal teen. No seatbelt, music playing, just heading home. Suddenly, wham! Another car made a quick turn in front of him. Joe didn't have time to stop. His Jeep clipped the other car and started flipping. Not once, not twice. Witnesses say it rolled over 5 times. The Jeep's fiberglass top was torn off like paper, and Joe, without a seatbelt, was thrown into the air. How high? At least 25 feet. That's as high as a 2-story building. But instead of falling to the ground, Joe bounced off 3 different power lines. Boing, boing, boing. And then somehow he caught himself on the wire. He managed to grab one wire and got his leg tangled in another. He was stuck, dangling, way up in the air. And it was cold. Remember, it's January in Missouri. So his arms were turning blue. Joe later said, "I just kept saying a prayer over and over and wishing for help to come." People below were shocked. The driver of the other car looked around for Joe, but couldn't see him. Until he looked up. There was Joe, literally hanging in the sky like Spider-Man. A rescue crew rushed to help. But first, they had to turn off the high-voltage power lines before using a ladder to reach him. Luckily, the wires Joe grabbed were insulated, so he wasn't electrocuted. Joe's dad arrived and was told, "Your son is hanging on for dear life." And he said, "I didn't know they meant literally hanging on for dear life. So when I saw him up on the power lines, I was totally shocked." Joe stayed calm the whole time. When someone asked how long he could hold on, he said, "As long as it takes." And he did. He held on for 20 minutes until firefighters finally got him down to safety. Aside from a few bruises and scratches, Joe was totally fine and went home with his father from the accident scene. Now here's a fun fact. Utility wires are usually around 20 to 30 feet above the ground, but they can carry thousands of volts of electricity. So Joe sure was lucky the ones he landed on weren't live. Now let's think about this. First, how would you react if you were flying through the air like Joe? Would you be scared? Excited? Maybe flap your arms like wings? Next, would you be able to grab a wire and hold on? If so, for how long? In an emergency, do you think you could hold on for 20 minutes like Joe did? And finally, and most importantly, do you wear your seatbelt every time you get in a car? Because the next time you do, remember Joe's story and click it to stay safe. Now, it's amazing Joe survived, but this story is also a reminder. Even everyday things like driving home can turn into something unbelievable in just seconds. Joe's courage and quick thinking helped him survive. But wearing a seatbelt might have saved him from flying in the first place. So remember, every time you get in the car, click that seatbelt. That's it for today's high-flying and electrifying episode of Believe It or Not. Wow, a flying Jeep, a 25-foot fall, and a teenager who lived because he held on tight. Believe it or not. And guess what? Next time, we're traveling to Philadelphia to meet a woman named Mary, who walks to work every single day. And it's not just a short walk. It's a long one. And would you believe it? Her name is Mary Walker. Until then, keep wondering, keep learning, and remember, sometimes the truth is weirder than fiction.